First of all, introducing our challenger.
Coming out of the blue corner.
He's going to step in and he does. It's all over.
Let's bring on the boom. This is Eternal MMA.
With your hosts, Cam O'Neill and Ben Vickers.
Hello and welcome to Eternal MMA Insiders. Here we are, just Cam and I this week. Lots to talk about, lots been going on, lots of news, lots of things happening. COVID is a fucking bummer, and it makes life really difficult to the point where I've had to put my promoter's hat on today. It's my thinking cap and my promoter's hat, and some magic has happened. But unfortunately, we've got some other news that Cam's going to break now. So Cam, I'll hand it over to you, mate.
G'day. As Ben says, COVID is a bummer, and I'm sure by now, with the date that this podcast comes out, that all fighters, teams, and everybody else who follows across social media will be aware of us postponing the Gold Coast Eternal 52 show and moving it back to October the 17th, which means it now becomes Eternal 54 back in October. That's a decision that hasn't been taken lightly. In fact, it's actually two events that we're postponing, which will be the Gold Coast one from September 12 and also the Melbourne show, which I think everyone assumed we were going to be postponing anyway, which was scheduled for the end of September 25, Friday, September 25. The Gold Coast show, we've just ran out of options with it, to be perfectly honest. We'd put together a card that at the time was going to work perfectly well with the travel restrictions round about Australia. We had secured 3 fighters from ACT, and our other interstate fighters were from northern New South Wales, which up until the start of the week last week could travel freely in and out of Queensland. We did have a slight issue with our normal venue, Southport Sharks. Due to COVID restrictions, we were only allowed a capacity of 250 in the Southport Sharks. So for probably 10 days leading up to the middle of last week, we had spent chasing a new venue, which we did secure. We secured a new venue mid last week, which would have gave us a capacity of 500. Still not ideal, but double what we're getting at the Sharks. An exciting new venue, brand new event centre. Very keen to get going there. And then within 24 hours, there was more travel restrictions placed upon people coming into Queensland, which took 3 pro fights off of our pro card and 3 amateur fights off of our amateur card. We've spent basically every minute of every day since then trying to get Queensland-based options for the fights that we lost due to COVID travel restrictions, and unfortunately, we're not able to match the fights to the standard that we wanted to match them to. So with regret and a heavy heart, we don't cancel the show, but we postpone it and we move it back. We move it back to October 17th. So we're going to try our very best to keep every single fight that we had alive on that card still alive. Probably will have spoke to everybody about moving the fights to that date by the time you watch this podcast. And for everybody that's tried to get me for the last day and a half, I'm sorry I haven't been available and I haven't had any answers for you either, but I've spoke to you by now.
Yeah, it's been sort of consuming all of our time of late, trying to get this. So, you know, we've put heaps of time, money, effort into making this happen, and it's just not feasible. You know, we could make something else that works for now, and then it could change. You know, the landscape's so dynamic at the moment that it's just not feasible to do it right now. It doesn't make any sense, sort of, in terms of work that we've got to do for potentially no reason, money we've got to spend for potentially no reason, and giving fighters dates, but we'd rather just have a cement date where we can operate, everyone can get ready for, and that's what we've decided to do. So, as you know, we take great credit in always going ahead with our shows when we plan to. To this point, this will be the second time we've had to postpone a show. First one was Melbourne last year when we had some difficulties with the commission, etc. over there, and you know, we postponed that show, and what happened and what we produced on the flip side of that was pretty phenomenal for our first Fight Pass event in Melbourne. So we're confident that the new show,
as well.
yeah, and the new show that we put together will be as good, if not better, than the one we have just postponed. We had major plans to come back with a bang. You know, we'd worked really hard on the COVID sort of lockdown side on 3 sort of pretty big cards for each of our regions that we're operating in. And unfortunately, you know, we can't do what we initially planned to do at the moment. It's just not feasible. I mean, we can't get anyone in or out of Perth for the foreseeable future. You know, Perth might be operating on its own for a while, but from the stance the Premier's taken here, he was saying last week 6 months to a year of not opening the borders. So, but that's a good segue into what will be our first show post-COVID. We've got a huge fight card planned for October the 10th. And, you know, what is really pleasing to see is we've been able to match a completely local Western Australian card. I'm just looking at the board now. I've got 12 fights, fully local fights with 5 pro fights on it. So I'm pretty pleased with how that's. Hopefully it holds together, and everyone is set for the HBF on October the 10th. The venue, I've been working closely with the venue. We should be able to get 1,000 spectators in there, which will make us probably the first MMA show in the civilized Western world to run with spectators. So I think that's a pretty awesome accomplishment, and the fact that we get to do it at the HBF, which is an amazing place to do shows, and the main event we have. Should we let them know? Should we let the people know, Cam? Should we let them know who's going to headline that card?
I think so. And look, I don't think it just is that. I think like in Australia, it will be the first sporting event indoors with fans as well. Obviously, there's outdoor sporting events that have had fans, but that Eternal event you've put together in Perth will be the first indoor sports event in Australia with fans post-COVID. But just before you let go of the card, it's great testament to the work that you've done in Perth and Western Australia and the gyms as well, what they've done in terms of building up fight teams to be able to put together. I mean, here we are in Queensland. I can't put together an all Queensland card, and only a few years ago in Perth, we were struggling to have any type of MMA scene at all due to the banning of the safety enclosure. So no, look, I think it's a huge step forward for the sport in Western Australia to have this card, and what a card it is as well.
Yeah, I'm really pleased with it. You know, and it is, like you say, it's a testament to the sort of MMA community here in WA. We never, even when they took the cage away, we never gave up on it. You know, and at Eternal we were champions of MMA, even when they just wanted us to do it in a ring and not how it was supposed to be done. The fighters never complained. The gyms never complained. The coaches never complained. Everyone just got on with it. They wanted to fight. They'd fight in the car park if you'd made them fight in the car park. And it's remarkable to see. Like, I've only been in Perth for 9 years, and to see the sort of development. You could have counted the MMA fighters on one hand, and now we've got a full card, 30 people almost from Perth fighting each other. So
yeah, it's phenomenal.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, and to be able to do like the main event may well be the worst kept secret in MMA at the moment, especially in Perth. I think there's a lot of buzz around it. I don't know if there's any buzz anywhere else about it, but it's a fight we probably wouldn't have been able to make without COVID, just given the way that Eternal operates and the way we try and do things with title shots and stuff like that. But it's a fight that both guys are really into. So Cam, you break the news, mate. Tell the people who the main event is. I'm going to take my promoter's hat off now and put my coach's hat back on while we talk about this fight.
People. The main event for what will now be Eternal 52 in
53.
Perth, 10th, will be
Eternal 53.
53, sorry. Yeah, 53. Will be a welterweight title fight between the champion Jack Della and challenger Alden Bates.
How's that?
Obviously,
What sent shivers down your fucking spine, I can tell you.
Obviously, this is going to be a rematch of a fight. I couldn't even tell you what year it would have been back in the Italian club, but in the ring, in a boxing ring, back in the Italian club, must have been round about 2017.
16, maybe?
2016. Where Alden finished Jack in the second round.
Third round.
Alden finished Jack in the third round at, pardon me.
It was probably 2 rounds down, to be fair, as well, when he finished Jack. So.
It was a fantastic fight. There's always been a bit of back and forth between Alden and Jack since that date. Mainly going from Alden to Jack. But Alden took a bit of time off. Alden's come back and Alden's switched gyms and he's hungry again. In his own words, he's hungry and he's wanting to get back into it. This is going to be a phenomenal fight. As Ben says, Alden's coming off of a loss to someone who's now actually one of his teammates in a very tough fought fight at the HBF Stadium last year. And normally we would put somebody into a title match coming off the back of a loss. But due to COVID, we obviously have the travel restrictions. We can't take anybody else into it to Western Australia. This is a fight that Alden has championed himself for since the day now where Jack got the belt round about his waist. With Alden having the win over Jack, I think he sees himself as the uncrowned welterweight champion. So this is going to be fireworks. It's going to be really exciting.
Yeah, actually, obviously, people know that I'm Jack's coach, and I talked to Alden on the phone this morning. Alden and I are friends. There's no bad blood. And we spoke on the phone this morning about some other stuff, and we talked about the fight a lot. Alden's super excited for the fight. He feels like this can put him right back up to the top of the mountain where he believes he belongs. Jack's obviously got all the momentum at the moment. Haven't been so dominant for the last few years in that division, and you're only ever one win away from taking all that momentum off someone. So Alden sees it as a massive opportunity. He's training hard. He's got the bit between his teeth. And he actually said to me on the phone, he knows they'll probably both be sat next to each other in hospital whenever the fight's finished. Like, that's the kind of fight he's envisioning. So, that's as a promoter, that's the kind of stuff you want to hear. And then from Jack's side of things, obviously, that was Jack's first pro fight. His pro debut. He was only 18 years old. He probably could have won that fight, taken nothing away from Alden. Alden did a fantastic job and finished Jack in third. But sort of Jack veered away from the game plan, a bit of inexperience, against a really tough, intimidating dude, full grown man when Jack was just a boy still. So Jack's keen to get back in there and eradicate that loss from his record and sort of right the wrong that he believes happened back then. And a motivated Jack Della is a scary man, and he's motivated. He's training hard, as Alden is. So I expect when those two collide in the middle of that cage in October the 10th in the HBF Stadium, it's going to be a mess. It's going to be great. It's going to be beautiful violence, and I'm so excited for that fight. And to make that I've got the best seat in the house, I'll be nervous as shit, but we'll be there doing what we always do and being quite frank. And I took my promoter's hat off and I put my coach's hat on. I'm backing Jack. Jack's skill set, I believe, is more well-rounded than Alden's skill set is. I believe Jack walks away the winner and continues his dominance in the welterweight division. However, you can never count Alden out. He's got dynamite in both of his hands. He comes with bad intentions and he comes with fire and aggression. And, he's dangerous. And we respect that. And you will see the best Jack Della you've ever seen.
Yes,
come
it's
October the 10th.
a really exciting fight, and I'm very jealous of you having the best seat in the house for it. I'll struggle to have the best seat in my own house for it due to COVID restrictions. I'm probably going to have to watch this show from.
Come quarantine, mate. Come and quarantine. Let's do it.
Mate, I don't have 10 minutes, never mind 14 days to sit in each direction. But look, if things change, which I don't see them changing before October 10th, I'll definitely be there for that show. This will be the first ever Eternal event, obviously, I've missed since 2012, which I don't know how I feel. I do know how I feel about it just now, but I probably don't know just how much I feel about it just now. It's a bit of a strange feeling, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, I mean, I missed last year for the birth of my son. I missed the last Gold Coast event last year, and it just doesn't feel right, like not being there, because we never miss these things.
The text messages you would send through watching the show were classic, though. But look, we picked up a couple of things that you could pick up in the broadcast that we didn't realise you could from you sitting watching it at home. Which
it's handy. I think
it's all to do with the camera angle that I never wanted in the fucking first place, but the production company gave me.
I'm like, the funny thing was, because that camera angle was, sorry, mate, I just got a call. It was actually the coach of someone I'll talk about in a minute. It's another fight. I hope he's not pulling him out. That could be breaking news.
Yeah, don't jinx it.
The camera angle that he was talking about allowed me that I would text you and I could see you pick up your phone, look at it, and start punching it. I could see how angry you were when you were texting. And it was just funny, but it's actually nice to be able to sort of, in the army, we used to call it, take that Hamlet moment, and you're out of the chaos and you can actually see things a lot clearer. So hopefully, like, we'll get an iPad and we'll get you on Zoom and we'll just sellotape around someone's head. We'll have to find a fat person, and so it's authentic. And we'll have the iPad taped around the head with your face on it, and we'll make sure you're there, cage side in spirit for sure.
And look, it's highlighted more than just me. It's highlighted how much of a national company and a little group of ragtag group of individuals that make this thing work that we are. You know, it's not just me that's not going to make it there. Our MC that we signed up for this year isn't going to be able to make it there when we wanted him to be standing in the centre of every single cage in 2020, 2021 and beyond. Our commentary team is going to be different from what we actually wanted it to be as well. Even our digital media team, which we travel round about with from event to event, to have consistency of brand and quality of product that we're putting out, is going to be different as well. So it's thrown up quite a few challenges, but after the disappointment of having to cancel the Gold Coast and Melbourne, the fact that we've got an all Western Australia card and we're able to go ahead is just a huge bonus.
Yeah, it really is. It's been that long. I mean, how many we used to doing 10, 11 shows a year. We've done, luckily we got those 3 shows in early, like we keep saying, but I mean, to have only done 4 shows by October, when we did 3 in 3 weeks in end of Feb, start of March, we were planning to be sort of coming to our 10th, 11th show now, and sort of heading out the back of the year. And we're not where we want to be, but we're in a lot better position than we could have been. So
and we're confident we'll still finish with 6 events this year, as well as October 10th in Perth. We're looking at October 17th in the Gold Coast and November 28th in the Gold Coast as well, which will probably finish out the year for us, unless we can get another Perth card in there at the end of the year. I think Victoria's out of the equation completely for this year. Things might change, but it doesn't seem to be changing.
It's not looking that way,
and look, unless the border closure situation changes in Western Australia, I don't think you're going to be able to get a second all Western Australian card for the end of the year.
No, it would be tough to get like a pro card. I've got amateurs, there's plenty of amateurs, and we might even do a development series before the end of the year, but this will be the only pro card I envisage us getting out this year. So that's that. I'm just looking at the card. We've got a really cool co-main event in one of Australia's rising stars in Cody Hadden. He's turned pro after an unblemished amateur career and a storied amateur boxing career. He's finally turning pro. He's gone up a weight class. Obviously, he's a young lad and he's growing. So he's found probably what's going to be his home as a pro at bantamweight. And he'll be looking to keep his momentum going. But he's got a tough prospect ahead of him in Shantaram Maharaj, who is a veteran of the sport. And anyone who's followed Australian MMA for any length of time will have heard that name. And Shantaram's no joke. You know, he's 18 MMA fights. He's a veteran. Been out of the game for a while.
That's 18 MMA fights that has been recorded. Shantaram's fought in Yakuza fights in Japan. He's fought in umpteen shows all over Australia. It's never been registered as well. So, you know, Shantaram's he's been around. He's definitely a veteran, and he's got a good game everywhere. He's got fantastic jiu-jitsu. He's got good striking. He's tough. He's big for the weight class.
Yeah. He's been on the missing list for a few years, but he's training with Steve Kennedy again, and Steve's really happy with the way he's going. You know, he's consistent and he's motivated, and you know, hopefully Cody gets the test that he's been looking for. You know, Cody's not shied away from a fight that we've offered him. He's fought Mini T, albeit on very short notice, and Daniel's a sort of world-class striker. He fought Nav Hassanzada in that epic battle they had back in the HBF Stadium last year.
And I think that fight would have cemented who was the best flyweight amateur in Australia at that time. They were definitely the two top of the tree prospects before moving pro. And it was
and I think if they fought 10 times, it might be 5-5. You know, that's how close Nav and Cody are.
I think so. I mean, that fight was backwards and forwards. A lot of people thought that Nav took the early momentum, but it shows you just how technical Cody is, that Nav made one slip up and Cody pounced on it and finished him.
Yeah, so that'll be our co-main event. It's rare for a pro fighter making his pro debut to get a co-main event slot, but obviously there's a lot riding on that fight. There's a lot of hype behind Cody, and he is the new breed of Australian MMA, and he deserves that platform. You know, he's a pleasure to deal with. He turns up on weight every time. He's humble, he's hardworking, and he deserves that spotlight that hopefully will help propel him to where he belongs, which is, you know, a bright and prosperous career in this sport. He's sacrificed a lot at a very young age to get to that point. So yeah, he gets that slot, and then we've got a really interesting fight in Sebastian Sazalei, who's obviously a karate guy. He's had an unblemished career himself, also stepping into the pro ranks last year at featherweight, and he's going to fight Dave Creel, who's a Muay Thai practitioner, a very decorated Muay Thai fighter here in Western Australia. He's been training under the guidance of Steve Kennedy for a long time, and you know, two stand-up guys, two different styles, sort of karate style versus the Thai boxing style. Makes for a really exciting fight. You know, Dave's going to bring the action. Seb's going to be looking to pick him off, and you know, I see another great chess match unfolding in front of us there with two really experienced strikers. And then we've got Khan Diato, who most people probably saw not for very long on his debut on the Gold Coast, fight John Fraser at middleweight. Unfortunately, Khan suffered what happens in MMA, which is sometimes with a 4-ounce glove, you take a big shot, especially at middleweight, you can go to sleep, especially with a striker like John Martin Fraser, who's now fighting for the middleweight title. When we can get the shows going back again over there. So Khan's looking to bounce back from that. He's not deterred by that. He's been buoyed by that. He's one of my fighters. He's in the gym, training hard. There's no sort of nervousness or or trepidation. You know, sometimes fighters, when they've suffered a bad knockout, they're a bit gun shy and don't want to engage. Khan's not like that. He's a veteran. He's had, it's maybe only his second MMA fight, but he's had 30 odd Muay Thai fights. He's been around the fight scene for a long time, and he's keen to get back on the horse. And he's got an opponent that in Dishon Ravindran, who you'd have seen if you're an Eternal fan. Dishon, again, is another guy, good striker. He's fought as heavy as light heavyweight before. But now he's in shape. He's training at a new gym, working really hard on his jiu-jitsu. He's got great striking, loves to fight. Just one of the nicest dudes you'll ever meet, but he can have a fight. And he's fought some tough guys. I think he's 3-3 now as a pro. So he's been about, and it should be another great fight. I see it as a striking match. Dishon may see he has an advantage on the ground with training at Essence with Jake O'Driscoll, and you know, he might try and take it there, or he might just embrace the stand-up, which he used to love so much. So we'll see how that one goes. So that's really exciting. So that's sort of the 4 standout pro bouts on our card, and the rest we'll announce later on this week.
The other thing that sticks out to me about those 4 fights at the top end of the card, which make up the majority of the Fight Pass portion of the card, is...
Oh, sorry, Cam, just before you go, we've got a feature amateur bout, which will also be on UFC Fight Pass. Oh, no, it probably won't, but we'll see how that goes. But we've got Quillan Salkild versus Abdallah El Tigani. So Abdallah's going up a weight class to fight Quillan, but he's kind of cleared out his weight class. He's been down towards bantamweight. He's a really clean, crisp striker, very tall at the weight. Against Quillan, who wouldn't mind me saying, he's more of a grappler. You know, he is working on his striking and taking striking matches, but he will be looking to get the fight to the ground and do his work down there. And Dalla will be looking to keep the fight standing and pick Quillan apart. So again, a classic striker versus grappler matchup, which will feature on the card as well, which is one I'm really excited.
They just complement what I was going to say about the ones before, the 4 fights before. It's very promising to know that every single one of the fighters has fought in Eternal cards before. You know, they're all starting to be names that people should start that follow the sport in Australia should start being familiar with, and can watch their back catalogue across our YouTube channel and across UFC Fight Pass. What it also does is it gives us a much better idea of the pecking order in each weight class as well, when we've got a consistency like that with the fighters, and we can keep giving them opportunities against each other, so that we can, you know, let them find out where they stand in the rankings. Yeah,
no, absolutely. It's great that there's that much talent available to us Australia wide now that we can do this. You know, it's been an absolute nightmare. I mean, to have a card and not be able to fly anyone in. It's also sad for our people that aren't in the states that we physically operate in, i.e. Queensland for you and Perth for me, that, you know, we've always took great pride in the fact that we move people about the country, amateurs or pros, and get fighters busy. You know, and we can't get the Adelaide boys working, we can't get the Melbourne boys working, we can't get all these people the fights that they need and deserve, and their careers are kind of on hold, which is tough. But hopefully they're all beavering away and developing as fighters. And, you know, I've said before, especially having a big team here like I've got here, it's hard to get that developmental time in. I don't have any full-time pros, but all my fighters work. So to get the developmental time in and do the fight camps and stuff, it's always been really difficult. So the one blessing of this whole scenario is we've had that big layoff where we've actually been able to add a lot of strings to people's bows. So I'm hoping that from my side and from my fighters, people see an improvement and they see the development that those guys have made in the time that we've had. And I'm hoping that fighters throughout the country are doing the same thing. You know, they can't fight, but they can get better. You know, and
There's probably a few of them preparing to move up a weight class as well.
Yeah, see how the COVID bodies are. See how many abs, six packs we've got in the cage come October 10th.
Yeah.
But no, it's you got to make the best of it. You just got to do what you can. I mean, Australia is already the hardest country to promote fights in, I believe, because of the small population and the huge size of the country. You know, we're already sort of struggling to get enough fighters to match up with everyone. And then you add COVID and travel restrictions, you know. Promoting fights in the UK, you can go, oh yeah, jump in the car, drive down here, I'll put you up in a hotel overnight and go home the next day. You know, it's not like flying someone thousands of kilometers to and at great expense too. So yeah, it's already a difficult country to operate MMA in and promote MMA in, and then add COVID and all these crazy times that we're facing right now. It's been challenging, but hey, I think we work best under pressure, and we work best when we're having to find solutions to things. And you know, it'll make us better at what we do, and then it'll make what we do simpler when the world returns to normal.
Yeah, without a doubt. I think it would be insane if we hadn't taken some lessons away, not from the whole thing, not just from the last 2 weeks. The last 2 weeks, especially for me and Queensland, has been very frustrating. Or the last week has been very frustrating. Just looking for other options and what we could do, both to do with venues, then to do with logistics, and then to do with rematching fighters. But just, all of a sudden it just got, it was too hard to start with, and then it became impossible. So I think for 5 weeks out, was that much uncertainty. I was getting that many messages even this morning, 10-15 minutes ago, with people unsure and uncertain as to what's happening. At least this hopefully gives them a little bit of drive for October.
Yeah,
and gets them there. Whether or not they're able to pick up some other opportunity on the way with the added 6 weeks, go and pick up a boxing fight or something, that's completely up to them. But I don't think there's going to be a lot of events going on that will be ran sensibly between now and then anyway. There's that many restrictions, it's hard for anybody to operate in.
Yeah, it's a bummer. But hey, it has been like, for us, we've been going full throttle for years, like doing 10 events a year is a mammoth undertaking to promote fights with a team as small as ours is. So I've kind of got round to looking at it as a bit of a blessing, like I think if we'd have carried on at the rate we was going, we might have took some years off of our lives, because it was getting pretty full on.
I wouldn't have minded something. At least you've got something else to fill your time in with. Just stuck here.
Yeah, it's tricky, and yeah, like you say, at least in WA, like the gym's operating at full capacity, and I've got plenty of stuff to be doing at home with young children and a wife. And, so I've been busy the whole time, but I have to be grateful for the extra time I've had to spend with my family, because in the last few years they've definitely come a poor second to everything else that's been going on. Not by design, but just when you're in the thick of it, there's no choice but just to keep going. And we commit a lot of time and finances to these things, and you can't just drop it all and mid-flow and go, I'm having a break, because it'll all fall apart. So the enforced break's actually been pretty good for me. But it's also made me super motivated. Like, I'm going to do 20 shows next year.
Yeah. We
won't. But I feel like
I'm usually the one that's saying yes, but I'm saying just now, no, I don't know about that. Once we get rolling again, I think it's very addictive. I think coming off the back of the A3 shows at the start of the year, we wanted a fourth show. If we'd done 4, we'd have wanted a 5th. If the resources were there, the demand was there, and the team was there to make it possible, we probably would do a season where we could travel state to state and do a lot of shows. But at this moment in time, You know, there isn't the fighters to be able to do that at the standard that we want to have shows at. There isn't the money and the demand for people to see it that would make it financially viable. And I don't think our personal lives would come off very well after it.
Yeah, we might both be single by the end of that.
Oh, wow, I'm single anyway. So
yeah, but that's what I mean. That we'd both be single by the end of that run. So, yeah. As we're going to put this episode out probably on Saturday, let's talk a little bit about the UFC and that, and have some pretty big card this weekend.
Yeah, as I don't know if that was a pun intended at the heavyweight title, but
big card in a small cage.
doesn't get much bigger than Stipe and DC. But the end of the trilogy, I think DC's got this. You know, I really do. I think DC's gonna put Stipe on his back, and I think he'll finish the fight within 2 or 3 rounds and decide that he's not going to retire after all, and the UFC will throw a bunch of money at John Jones, and you move up to heavyweight and fight DC.
I don't think DC's fighting again after this fight. I think he's done.
You reckon if the UFC manages to convince Jones to go up and fight for the heavyweight belt against DC, that
he doesn't need to. He doesn't need. I don't think an extra 20 pounds is going to help DC beat fucking John Jones.
Oh no, it isn't. I think that's the reason why they would do it. I think Jones sees it as taking candy from a baby, and he could go up there and snatch a heavyweight title off of DC a lot easier than he could off of Stipe.
I think DC knows that too, deep down, and I think he's made it pretty public that this is his walkaway fight. So I see him winning it. The last fight, he sort of tooled Stipe up for 15 minutes, and then Stipe sort of had this, what's the word? He had this little, something flicked in his head, and he went, "I'm going to hit you in the body a million times." And like DC said on his podcast this morning with Helwani, that he's not going to get hit in the body like that again. So I think he learned a lot from that fight. And although you can't ever write Stipe off, he's a great boxer. He's got power. He can wrestle. DC's wrestling is just next level. And if he puts you on your back, you're going to have a tough time getting back up again.
Yeah, and he's a proper competitor. He's been competitive in wrestling and in MMA his full life. You know, he's a proper competitor. You know, DC will go in there fully prepared with a game plan, and he'll stick to it. I think it'll be a cracking fight. And look, if DC does walk away at the end of it, that's we've lost from AKA. Is that the end of AKA? You know, we've lost Kane, Rockhold, DC will be leaving, and then what? We don't even. Khabib's not training at AKA for the Gaethje fight, and he's only got 2 fights left in him as well. So might be the end of their run as a gym at the moment. Well,
yeah, I'm sure they've got people coming through, but yeah, it'll be the end of them as a sort of powerhouse. And again, DC was talking about that on his podcast this morning about he had Kane and Rockhold back in the camp for the last week. It's like having the 3 kings. They all used to have belts at the same time. They've seen the shift. Now they've got only Khabib's the only one with a belt now from AKA. So there's definitely been a shift for them. They've had a good run, and I'm sure they'll have another good run.
Yeah, it seems to be like that with most of the gyms anyway. It's very cyclical. And they probably have the runs because they all bring the best out in each other, you know, at certain gyms.
Yeah.
That's how they usually have 2 or 3 people that go well. You'll probably find that as well. Day to day, it's scrappy that certain people in there raise the level of everybody else.
100%. Yeah, and the team we've got at the moment really does lift everyone to the next level. We've added a couple of bodies to that in the last since COVID started, and it's exciting times. I'm excited to get the whole team back out there. Unfortunately, a couple of them I couldn't find fights for locally. Otherwise, I'd have a couple more on. But they're just staying ready and enjoying the development and becoming better fighters. And they're all working together and helping the guys that are fighting out. And it's great to see. It's great to see. And then the co-main, we'll talk about briefly the Sugar Show. Sugar Sean versus Cheeto Vera.
Yeah, I think Sugar Sean knocks him out.
I don't think anyone else has done that to this point.
Yeah, I think I like Sean O'Malley. He seems to throw things without any great setup, without any great telegraphing from all sorts of angles. Seems to hit with power, kicks, punches. Yeah, I see him winning by KO.
It's a really exciting fight. Like Cheeto Vera's fighting style is all action, and O'Malley's the same way. So I see some wild shit happening. I'm leaning towards Sean O'Malley, but I feel like this is for the next big thing in the bantamweight division. Like whoever wins this is announcing himself as the next big thing at bantamweight. So I'm really excited.
I think it would be, and I hate to say it, but I think for the sport, I think Sean O'Malley winning would put more eyes in the sport and definitely be a higher profile win. I mean, I think what he managed to do last week with his walkout jersey that he sold, and the fact that he's now moving into the Sugar Sean merchandising, and he's starting to monetize himself and get himself out there, he could be creating the next big superstar. Yeah,
I agree, and I hope so. He's a nice guy. Like he's not a dickhead. He's assured and he's confident, but he's not over the top. And he seemed like just a normal kid, like a down-to-earth normal kid who's got this exceptional talent to be able to fight like a motherfucker, knock people out. I mean, knocking Eddie Wineland out with one shot in Eddie Wineland is pretty spectacular.
Yeah.
In the fashion.
I do think that match was picked specifically because of what Wineland has achieved in his career, the point of his career that he was at, and the point of the career where Sugar Sean was at. That was the changing of the guard fight that everyone likes to get the name on the record, moving forward with a convincing dramatic win.
Yeah, walk-off KO. You can't do any better than that.
Really. It'd be really good if more people treated themselves like a business in the way that he does and the way that Conor does as well. It's really good to see.
Well, look, I think having spoken to Alden today, he's very much like keen to get promoted his fight with Jack, and it's good we can finally announce it, and we've got everything tied up. We've had our logistical issues with venues and stuff over here as well, so we've just finally sorted through all that last week, and I'm excited, man. It's going to be nice to get some runs on the board again, and get back to what we do and what we love to do, and what I think we do really well. I'm pumped.
You'll be doing it yourself. You'll be the Lone Ranger.
Fuck me! I'm going to stick a broom up my arse and fucking sweep up afterwards as I move around.
I'll be Tonto.
Fuck yeah! It's going to be tough. Like cornering. I've got 2 pro fighters and a bunch of amateurs on the card, and then promoting the show and probably putting the cage up a little bit, and fuck knows what's going on.
I want to see that. I want the photos of that.
You'll be fucking orchestrating it by Zoom, mate. Don't worry about it.
I'm busy.
You've done a me and skipped out of the cage building.
I'm looking for my wallet that day.
It's gonna be a big weekend, and luckily I've got a really good team around here, and the guys from the gym really helped me out. And I've got Jasmine, I've got Ash, I've got people that are on board and keen to help out. So
everybody who's not in Western Australia will be able to watch the main card on UFC Fight Pass, and everybody who's not in Western Australia will be able to watch the undercard probably on a pay-per-view stream.
For this one show only, or for this COVID period, we're gonna we used to give our undercards away, but just what the price of everything at the moment and the extra expenditure of everything, unfortunately there will be a small charge for all the streams, but nothing crazy, nothing too crazy at all. And I'm looking forward to getting back to business.
When do you think tickets will be on sale for that show for everybody who is local?
So hopefully next week. I have tickets on sale next week, and ticket numbers are limited. So even though HBF is a huge venue, we obviously have to follow a COVID safety plan. So whereas to this point at HBF we've had a capacity of 5,000, people have known that they don't need to rush to get their tickets. I've already sold 50% of the VIP allocation. So if you do want tickets for this event, you're going to have to get in quick because it'll be the first event back. I'm sure, we've got everyone's local, everyone on the card will want to bring their friends and family. So don't dwell on and think you're just going to walk up on the door and get tickets to this event. It is capped numbers. So you will need to get your tickets early.
And the options are tiered general seating, VIP tables, VIP stand, VIP
seats, probably, like we did the last time.
the sections.
Little sections. But I'll finish the ticket build this week, and I'll make sure all the information is circulated and everyone knows what's available. We will do our junior prices again as usual.
Good stuff.
So yeah, I mean that's all. That's enough waffle from us, I reckon. Plenty to be doing. I mean, every day is a different challenge pops up, so plenty to be getting along with. But all systems are going in Western Australia at this stage.
Yeah, good stuff. And I'm just,
sitting around twiddling your thumbs.
That's it. That's all I'm doing. If only.
Oh, and congratulations on your purple belt, by the way. You're not sandbagging as a 10-year blue belt anymore. You got promoted last week, so congratulations, mate.
Oh, it's good. Thank you. Look, it's a hell of a drive down to the gym. It takes me about 40 minutes to get there and about 40 minutes to get back. So it's good to eventually get my purple belt, and then I can take 6 months off now. I don't need to do that for a while.
Standard post-promotion behaviour.
But I've actually been a lot more regular at the gym recently. Probably getting there 5 times a fortnight at the moment, which in the last couple of years for me is quite regular.
That's brilliant. A couple of times a week, keep the hand in.
Yeah.
That's great. So well done on that.
Where I'm staying
That's a big achievement.
Where I'm staying at the moment, at one end of the coast, and the gym's at the other end of the coast, and traffic in the Gold Coast isn't the best. So it can get frustrating. So it's not just the journey with the belt that's the problem; it's the journey to get to the belt that's the problem.
Yeah. So well done for that. We'll end on that good note. Cam, purple belt. Look him up. Choke him out. He loves it.
This neck, you reckon?
That neck. I thought it was a pencil.
Right.
All right, mate.
Thank you.
Good to talk to you. We will catch up soon.
Good stuff.
Peace.
Got.
All right. Let's jump off.
Oh shit! Was that to record that?
It's recording already, mate.